Good evening and welcome to the main news. I am Tariro Manamiki with Susan Masona at the Sign Language Desk.
My name is Joyce Mabika. Later on, we'll be joined by Arthur Evans from our Montreux studios in Bulawayo. For now, let's take a look at our leading stories tonight.
President Mnangagwa back home after attending the Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development in Uganda.
Independence Torch leaves Harare for Gweru, where it will be officially lit this Thursday.
And in business, promising outlook for gold sector as deliveries surge in the first quarter.
Our leading sports story tonight, International Cricket Council chairperson Jay Shah arrives in Zimbabwe.
Now, those were our headlines. Let's take a look at this news in detail. The SADC chairperson, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, says regional and continental unity is key in efforts to build trans-border infrastructure and grow economies of African nations.
The president said this at the 11th session of the African Regional Forum for a Sustainable Development in Uganda. Our chief correspondent, Ruben Barwe, filed the following report.
Uganda-Zimbabwe relations when they gear up, when President Emmerson Mnangagwa and his counterpart, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, met at Munyonyo in Kampala, Uganda. The 11th session of the African Regional Forum for Sustainable Development opened in the Ugandan capital Kampala with a call by the host president, Comrade Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, calling on African delegates that through unity at regional and continental levels, Africa is the continent of the future. It is here in Africa that is home to many resources needed for economic growth.
The underdevelopment of the human resource, lack of industrialization, and the export of the raw materials which we have talked about here now, but also these Ugandans can tell you that when you wake up a bit and start doing some work, you will soon find that the internal market of Uganda is not enough. You people, you must emphasize regional integration for the market so that we have got, our business people have got guaranteed markets.
Soon after the official opening of the summit, that is saw the United Nations systems, the African Union, the African Development Bank, together with the Ugandan government officials, spoke on the need to accelerate economic development on the African continent. The two presidents, Comrade Mnangagwa and President Kaguta Museveni, held 40 minutes of a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the summit. Here, President Mnangagwa speak.
I want to recall that the two countries held a successful business forum in September 2024, which emphasized the potential capacity towards mutually beneficial partnerships between the two countries. Zimbabwe Trade was working on ways to strengthen economic partnerships between Zimbabwe and Uganda. And plans are underway for Zimbabwe to convene a dissemination seminar, business council, between the two countries in August 2025. I also wish to note that various cooperation agreements have been signed between our two countries and emphasize the need to fully implement these agreements.
As the summit ended the second phase of the meeting, a round table was held, bringing leaders and their representative of regional economic communities, RECEs, chaired by the Ugandan leader, President Museveni. The President, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, as SADC chairman and Zimbabwean leader, gave a speech on how to create jobs for millions of youths of Africa.
Employment creation and empowerment have been deemed central objectives in national development plans, while the mainstreaming of these key cogs across macroeconomic and sectoral policies is also a priority. We are of the view that our fiscal and monetary policy should simultaneously promote economic stability, and job creation. These objectives are complementary and mutually reinforcing. We recognize that our SADC region's abundant natural resources offer a unique comparative advantage that must be fully leveraged to create decent jobs, sustainable enterprises, and economic development through sustainable value chains, especially in commodity sectors.
So as leaders leave for their respective home, they are invigorated that the partnerships are critical in developing economies and are shock absorbers to cushion individual states. The market is both bigger for those producing more goods and services. Ruben Barber, ZBC News, Munyonyo, Kampala, Uganda.
Meanwhile, President Emmerson Mnangagwa is back home from Uganda, where he attended the 11th session of the Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development. And we get more details in the upcoming report.
The SADC chairperson touched down at Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport in Harare this Wednesday and was received by the two vice presidents, General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga and Comrade Kembo Mohadi, service chiefs and senior government officials. Speaking with journalists, President Mnangagwa said the forum provided insight into the aspirations of regional blocs in the sustainable growth of Africa.
Well, it's a forum where both East Africa and SADC leaders will come together and share with regard to sustainable development goals which we are pursuing, how much each jurisdiction or each region is succeeding in implementing what goals we have as the respective nations have determined to achieve. So in a meeting we held with the President of Uganda, we were able to discuss all these issues. Yes, other heads of state were represented by their foreign ministers, but we were happy that it was a robust debate. And we're happy that both SADC and the East Africa community were all represented in terms of respective countries from those two regions. And we resolved to pursue our goals.
Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe has launched its national energy efficiency policy aimed at optimizing the use of existing energy resources, minimizing waste, and promoting sustainable practices across the economy.
The policy was unveiled this Wednesday by Vice President General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga during the 6th International Renewable Energy Conference and Expo, which is currently taking place in Victoria Falls. This national energy efficiency policy is designed to strengthen Zimbabwe's transition to green energy while complementing various incentives aimed at attracting private sector investment in the renewable energy sector.
I am proud to announce the launch of Zimbabwe's energy efficiency policy during this conference. This policy aims to optimize the use of existing energy resources, reduce waste, and promote sustainable practices across the economy. Furthermore, private sector-driven projects such as captive power plants are already underway and are expected to significantly reduce load shedding in the near future, contributing to a more reliable energy supply for all Zimbabweans.
Private renewable energy players are optimistic about the potential impact of the new policy.
I'm very pleased that the government launched the renewable energy policy. It will help us as private players to come up also with our own policy, which helps us in terms of how we implement this in renewable energy so that we support the government. Nowadays, we need to go green.
I think it will go a long way, even in compliance, in knowing exactly what to do and how to do it, and where to look for help where we have challenges as companies.
Zimbabwe has already embarked on several transformative renewable energy projects, including large-scale solar farms and wind energy initiatives. The country aims to achieve 2,100 megawatts of installed renewable energy capacity by 2030. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
The government says notable progress has been made in various projects under the 100-day cycle. This was revealed by the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jenfen Muswere, during the post-cabinet media briefing yesterday.
Cabinet also received 100-day cycle reports in terms of the infrastructure development, thematic area, in terms of the National Development Strategy 1. The Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare highlighted the following achievements. The rehabilitation of Dzivarasekwa Pump Station, the pumping gravity mains and treated water reservoir repairs in Harare has been finalized. The disposal of housing units numbering more than 100 in Glaudiana and Borodale is ongoing. The final finishings and external works for the Glaudiana Flats project phase 1 are almost complete, and commissioning of the project is expected to be done by the end of May 2025. Preparations for the servicing of 616 residential stands in Runyararo Mashingo province have been completed. The project site works for the servicing of 124 residential stands in Plumtree, Matabeleland South province has begun.
Zimbabwe has started fulfilling its commitment to compensate former farm owners, with Treasury disbursing over $3 million United States dollars to the first batch of more than 300 farms.
A statement released by Treasury on Wednesday reveals that over 700 farms have been approved for compensation by the Land Compensation Committee. The Treasury reveals that more than $3 million United States dollars has therefore been disbursed for the first batch of over 300 farms. Last week, the government also issued Treasury bonds to raise more funds for compensation. The Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Professor Mtulinwe, also reaffirmed a commitment by the government to resolving the debt burden.
The agreement basically says that we will pay a coupon initially of 1% of the value of whatever is owed, and then the remainder, which is 99%, is then paid through a US dollar bond. These bonds run for 10 years, and they have a coupon of 2% per annum. So we've begun this process. So recently we paid $3.1 million, which is 1% coupon that is due to the farmers. Basically, 378 farmers were covered out of the 740 farmers who had been approved by our land committee for payments.
The compensation of former farm owners marks a huge milestone in Zimbabwe's arrears clearance and data resolution process. In February 2025, the government concluded the disbursement of $20 million United States dollars towards compensation of bilateral investment promotion and protection agreement investors whose farms were affected by the 2000 land reform program. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe and Zambia are seeing opportunities for trade growth as another direct flight has been added between Harare and Lusaka.
The addition of a new direct route between Harare and Lusaka, which is FastJet's first, is essential in many respects as it harnesses economic diplomacy, as illustrated by Zimbabwe Ambassador to Zambia, Her Excellency Charity Charamba, who was a passenger in the inaugural flight to Lusaka this Wednesday morning.
This is a milestone between our two nations, our two great nations, Zambia and Zimbabwe. As Zimbabwe, we are pursuing economic diplomacy. In that regard, it means we'll have more people coming to Zambia. And this route is very unique in that this is the only route that we have where there's a flight early in the morning. Zimbabwe's pursuant to economic diplomacy means we can enhance more trade and investment between our two nations. Zambia hosts ZITF, we host ZITF. Zambia hosts us, we also host ZAS, and in that regard, we can have our two nations exchanging people who come to exhibit here in Zambia and vice versa.
Zimbabwe's Deputy Minister of Transport and Infrastructural Development, Comrade Joshua Sako, says government is reaping fruits of upgrading its airport infrastructure as regional connectivity increases.
We're very excited with this new flight that's been introduced by FastJet Harare-Lusaka, Lusaka-Harare, which will bring our people together, facilitate trade and commerce, the collaboration between our countries, the collaboration within the region.
Zambia's Minister of Transport and Logistics, Frank Tayali, welcomed this as yet another window of opportunity to elevate trade ties between the two countries.
The economies of the region are quite symbiotically intertwined, and that there is no need to compete, but rather to collaborate. And so this is a great day, and we look forward to sustaining these operations.
Many regional and international airlines have either launched the new routes or relaunched the old ones in Zimbabwe as the country continues to become a favorite investment and business destination. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Lusaka.
The Independence torch has left Harare for Gweru, where it will be lit by Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga this Thursday.
Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga is expected to preside over the official lighting of the Independence torch in Gweru this Thursday. The torch was escorted to the provincial capital from Harare this Wednesday. Speaking before the departure of the Independence torch, National Museums and Monuments of Zimbabwe Regional Director Love Momandema said the flame will be taken to various districts in the Midlands province before being taken to Gokwe, where the main Independence Day celebrations will be held.
After its launch tomorrow in Gweru, we are going to be moving around the different districts within the Midlands province. We are going to start with the Mberengwa district. From Mberengwa, we'll go to Zishavane at Mandava. We'll proceed on to Shurugwi district at Chachacha. From Chachacha Shurugwi district, the flame will be heading for Kwekwe district, where people are going to be gathered at Mbizo. The Independence flame is very important because where there's light, there is life. So we are saying as Zimbabweans, we are raring to go for development in all facets. And we are saying that the 18th of April of every year, we must gather together as one family to celebrate, to remember the hard-won independence from the sadistic regime forces.
The Zimbabwe Independence flame signifies an enduring symbol of the country's struggle for freedom and its commitment to building a better future for Zimbabwe. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
Young people in Matabeleland North Province are grateful for the country's independence, which resulted in them getting land for commercial wheat production, among other projects.
Land is the means of production in Zimbabwe, making it a crucial driver of core economic activities. It was also the basis for the liberation struggle, which culminated in the country attaining independence in 1980. As such, when the majority black government redistributed this resource at the turn of the millennium, many young people were brought on board as landowners. Many of these youths have now become owners who are driving production, enhancing national food security, and even contributing to the country's total exports. These youths, now into wheat farming, have not forgotten that being owners of land today is a result of the country's hard-won independence. The Rural Development Trust of Zimbabwe's Second Republic has given them an opportunity not only to earn income in their own backyard, but also to influence national economic dynamics.
Sema youth, ini zvangwa yangu ndida kutenda zvikuru kuzunguka zvakawana independence yeyi. Tiri kubatsirika zvikuru pakurima. Kurima kwatiri kuita tiri kwanisa kuziva kuti tinobudisa goho rakati kurei muminda yedu yatinayo iyi. Tukwanisa kutengesa takazvimiririra
kuli awelize rangotora muhlabathi asikhululekile imisebenzi yezandla siyayenza njengoba libona silima kunje so izinto ziphume emasimini kuyakhuthaza lokhu ukubana sibambe ngamandla ukuze njengathi untanga singatholakali senze ukuganga kumbe sesibambe ezinye izinto ezidakayo ezingayisizo.
Some of the people are also now into commercial ventures, which were once a preserve for white farmers.
Khathesi ngikhuluma kunje silezi nsimo. Ngalesi sile 1 hectare esifakileyo sifake isihlahla ama-apple. So hayi isivuno sankhona siyaphumelela, so indaba ye-independence yasinceda kakhulu. And khathesi siyabonga lo hulumende wethu sithembisile imali zama-youth. So khathesi sile project ama-project esakhangeleyo ubana siyayenze ama-project embuzi.
Linye wamakhabithi kulamatamatisi siyakwanisa ukuthi sithengise lokhana sithola imali ukuze sikwanise lathi ukuthenga izinto ezishoda ngazo ezindlini upha ama-basic needs.
The country has seen varying agriculture projects in Matabeleland North Province. The young people cultivating wheat and other crops are playing a critical role in Zimbabwe's vision of an upper middle income economy society by 2030. As they thrive in tilling the soils, they have not forgotten that had it not been for independence, they would have been servants in their own land. This year's independence celebrations will be held in Gokwe, Nambudzia, under the theme Zimbabwe at 45, Devolve and Develop Together Towards Vision 2030. Mhlomuli Ncube, ZBC News, Umkuza.
Zimbabwe is optimistic of presenting its products, forging business connections and identifying market opportunities at the 21st Konya Agriculture, Mechanization and Field Technologies Fair in Turkey. John Nandara with that report.
The event focuses on farm mechanization, agriculture, technology and equipment, attracting exhibitors and visitors from across the globe. One of Turkey's largest and most significant agricultural fairs, the event also brings together industry leaders, professionals and innovators to showcase the latest developments in agricultural mechanization and field technologies. Leading the Zimbabwe delegation, the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Water, Fisheries and Rural Development, Dr. Anxious Masuka, spoke on the importance of high-tech innovations in shaping the future of agriculture.
We are also, in this context, trying to accelerate mechanization. Over the past 4 years, we've increased the mechanization tractors in the country by as much as 90%. And the visit to the fair today has availed us opportunity to look at additional collaborative aspects, including looking at drilling rigs, looking at tractor mechanization, not just at a large holder level, but also mechanization at small holder level to enable these communities to increase their production.
Dr. Masuka also noted the significance of smart farming technologies and sustainability-driven solutions in advancing Zimbabwe's agricultural economy. Running under the theme, improving agricultural productivity under scarce water resources through South-South and triangular cooperation, the Konya Fair provides a unique opportunity for Zimbabwe to discover the latest advancements in farming technologies and to engage in meaningful business partnerships. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, do remember that for these and more stories, you can log on to our website. That's www.zbc.co.zw. You can also follow us on our social handles. That's on X, on Facebook, as well as on YouTube. That's at ZBC News Online.
And here are stories still to come in this bulletin. In business, promising outlook for gold sector as deliveries surge in first quarter. And in sport, International Cricket Council chairperson Jay Shah arrives in Zimbabwe. Stay with us for these and more stories in detail after this break.
Discover
Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Welcome back to the main news. The government is impressed by works to transform Culinary Medical Center in Bulawayo into a specialist training institution. Let's get more details.
A brainchild of the late Vice President, Dr. Joshua Nkomo, Culinary Medical Center was officially handed over to the National University of Science and Technology NUST for transformation into a specialist medical training and research institution. The Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, Ambassador Frederick Shaba, toured the health facility this Wednesday and was briefed on the ongoing works meant to transform the institution.
Joshua Nkomo Culinary Hospital is a major step in the right direction for us, where we have the specialists. The specialists are going all over the show, trying to practice, trying to save lives, and sometimes they even go out of the country following their own patients to go and perform miracles next door or something like that. We want those miracles here, and they have brought it. They are in the process of bringing it to Culinary.
In response, Ambassador Shaba said the transformation of the facility will promote research and medical tourism.
The structure that houses Culinary is a beautiful structure which is not being utilized. It was quite a visionary structure as we saw it, but it was affected, I think, by various issues along the time. But now that NUST is requesting to use it as a teaching hospital, we as government appreciate that, and we are going to do everything possible to assist NUST to develop a culinary facility at Joshua Nkomo Culinary Hospital.
Culinary Medical Center was officially opened in 2021, and this transformation is expected to promote research and training of medical experts at a time the country is seeking to ensure innovation-based development. In line with the Education 5.0 model, local institutions of higher and tertiary education are investing in facilities such as innovation hubs, DNA and medical health centers, and NUST will be no exception in light of the works to transform Culinary Medical Center. Lisa Masuku, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
A mice traditional cookout competition has been taken to Bubi district in Matabeleland North Province, where culinary skills were on show this Wednesday.
This year's provincial cookout competition was held at Inyati Training Center in Bubi and attracted participants from across Matabeleland North Province. With traditional delicacies informing the basis of the event, the array of dishes reflected the stance to promote healthy uptake of indigenous foods. The participants who took part said they will continue to promote traditional foods in their homes and professionally.
Certificate in change out in life manga will remember for a long time.
Like I wasn't expecting good things about number one. I was so short. I'm grateful to God for this opportunity that He has given me. So kuzenza ngipheke ngokunono okungaphezulu sengikwazi ukuthi kuqhakatheke kakhulu ukudla kwesintu. Ama programs anjengalawa aqhakathekile kakhulu thina omama kwenzela ukuthi sihlale sigcinile ukudla kwemvelo.
Introduced by the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, in 2019, the cookout competition has even grown to attract countries from regional and international platforms.
Gastronomy inokwanisa kuti nyika tourism yenyika inde mberi
lapho sikutshoyo ukuthi igastronomy leyi izayenza ukuthi tourism yelizwe lethu iye phambili iphumelele.
Ukaenda ku vanhu vanokwira ndege ku Europe vachinda kunonzi ku Spain neku Italy.
Abantu emazweni bayakhwela izindizamtshina besiya emazweni anjengeSpain leItaly.
Vachinda kunolathi culture ikoko.
Benanda kuphela ukuyakudla ukudla kwakhona ngayo.
Saka yati kuita panonzi gastronomy tourism. Kune vachakwira ndege vachida kuya kunozogara mazuva mashoma zvawo tichivabikira chikafu ichi asi chofana kuwanikwa mahotera edu nemarestaurants edu ndokuti vauye.
Among the winners were Kamuchirai Machanzi, who took overall prize in the professional cooks category, Simangaliso Sibanda in the student category, and Sandra Mpofu in the community category. Mshomoli Ncube, ZBC News, Bobi.
The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, ZAC, and the Interpol NCB Harare have formalized a collaborative partnership through a memorandum of understanding, a move aimed at bolstering the nation's anti-corruption efforts.
The collaboration between Interpol, NCB, Harare and ZAC is set to streamline information sharing and intelligence gathering between the two entities in line with emerging trends.
This MOA integrates ZAC into Interpol's I-247 global communication system, optimizing real-time data exchange and operational coordination to address transnational crimes. The collaboration between ZAC and Interpol will enhance the Commission's forensic, investigative, and asset recovery capacities through Interpol's nominal databases.
The key areas of cooperation include joint investigations, training on financial crime, and crucially improved strategies for the extradition of corrupt individuals who have fled the country.
This partnership will enhance the sharing of intelligence and information on corruption cases. Suspects and their networks will be shared. The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission will have access to global intelligence and enabling them to streamline investigations through utilization of Interpol databases.
Officials say that the expected outcome of the partnership is more robust and effective anti-corruption framework, leading to a more transparent and accountable Zimbabwe.
Over 150 people had their vision corrected during a 4-day free cataract surgery in Nyanga as part of initiatives to improve access to healthcare services in rural areas.
Nyanga North is among rural constituencies where free medical outreach missions are being conducted regularly, with a 4-day free cataract surgery program conducted at Elimu Hospital being the latest initiative to benefit the local communities. More than 150 patients have hoped to fully regain their sight after accessing the specialized medical care for the first time in their lives, thanks to the program initiated by Nyanga North legislator Honorable Chidosa Nyatwe.
Toda kupa kutenda kukuru pane this operation yandaitwa inova ine chirongwa chatakaitirwa na Honorable vedu.
Leading the medical team was Dr. Matthias Mukona, who emphasized the need for health professionals to offer their expertise in complementing government efforts to increase access to health care in rural areas.
Sanga inokonzera kuti munhu asakwanise kuona zvakanaka, asakwanise kushanda kana kuita basa rake zvakanaka. Saka chinangwa chekuuya kwedu ndechekuti tibatsire vanhu.
Nyanga North legislator Honorable Chidosa Nyatwe spoke on her initiative to engage doctors to conduct such free medical programs.
Tatarisa uwandu uri pano tiri kuona vanhu vatinoti muchirungu 157. Asi chirongwa ichi hatina chete kungotora vagari vemuno muNyanga North. Tatora Nyanga district nenzvimbo dzakatenderedzawo kune vakwanisa kusvika mubva Manicaland nekwa Mutoko vari pano kuzooperatwa maziso.
For the residents of Nyanga North and all the cataract outreach beneficiaries, the free cataract program is enough testimony that government remains resolute in improving access to health care in line with the inclusive development agenda. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Nyanga.
A government's push for ecological tailoring in agriculture is yielding results, with farmers in drought-prone areas like Muzarabani anticipating a bumper harvest of traditional grains.
Ephraim Mugoniwa of Utete Ward in Muzarabani has become a compelling testament to the success of traditional grains farming in the lowveld. Mugoniwa planted his sorghum on 7 December and for 27 days there was no rainfall, but his plants still germinated.
Ndakaita dry plant ndakaisa pasi musi wa7 December, asi nekuda kwekunonoka kwemvura akaramba aripo kusika mvura yazonaya musi wa3 January usiku, musi wa8 January ndakaona mapunda angu amera ose.
Mugoniwa's success for the past few years has positioned him as a crucial player in government's promotion of traditional grains, having been contracted to grow parent seed by seed producer Farmbiz.
I encourage our farmers to really take this seriously, because seed is actually the most important thing for us to be productive.
The Permanent Secretary for Lands, Agriculture, Water, Fisheries and Rural Development, Professor Obed Chiri, recently assessed the progress of traditional grain farming in the traditionally dry areas, urging farmers to work closely with their agricultural extension officers.
Zvese zvatinenge tichitaura kuministry tichitaura tichiti isusu ngatirimei mbesa dzinoenderana nenzvimbo. Zvinhu izvozvo zvinouya kumadhumeni edu. Kana vataura izvozvo vateerereka. Kana muchida kuona munhu ane njara gore rino iri, tarisai munhu asina kuteerera mudhumeni.
Government's ecological tailoring drive focuses on encouraging farmers to cultivate crops that are naturally resilient to the specific climatic and soil conditions of their regions. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Mzarabani.
The ruling ZANU-PF party has intensified its campaigns in Harare's Glenview South constituency ahead of the by-election slated for this Saturday.
With just a few days to go before the electorate in Glenview South goes to the polls, the ruling ZANU-PF party is leaving no stone unturned to canvass for votes. As the campaign trail continues, the ZANU-PF Women's League was at Glenview Community Hall this Wednesday, where hundreds were handed day-old chicks to start poultry projects.
But ukazvishandira nemaoko ako ukaita zvinhu zvako nemaoko ako uchishandira kwasa kutozvichengeta.
Sikhululekile sijabule kakhulu ngokuthola iproject yenkuku ukuthi sikwanise ukukhula njengoba singomama sikholise sijabule inhliziyo zethu zikhululekile ukuthi nxa sisiyavota sawazi upresident wethu usiphuculile.
Tiri kufara nezvataitirwa kuitirwa project semadzimai, tapiwa huku dzinokandira mazai, tiri kufara zvese zvangozvipiwa for free.
Isu muno mu district 2 mu south muno tine mufaro wakanyanyisa. Tsitsi uyu hatisi kugona naye, titsunga apinde mu parliament.
ZANU-PF Women's League Secretary for External Affairs, Comrade Betika Seke, said the party is optimistic that its candidate, Comrade Tsitsita Womera, will be victorious come Saturday's by-election.
Today we have handed over day-old chicks, tikaita hand over zvakare chikafu chehuku dzachona and also ne-vaccine yachona, so that huku dzavo dzikwanise kuti vachibva nadzo pano vachanodzipa mushonga kuti dzisafe and also vozodzipa chikafu. Saka issue ye-women empowerment. 5 candidates, namely Tsitsita Womera of ZANU-PF, Perpetua Mukanda of NCA, 3 independent candidates, George Makwangwaidze, Tonderai Chakereza and Tungamirai Madzokere, will battle it out in the Glenview South by-election this Saturday. The by-election was prompted by the death of legislator Gladmo Hakata in January this year. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
A Harare man, Richard Tafadzwa Marondera, has been jailed 10 years for attempting to escape from lawful custody while armed with a revolver nearly 3 weeks ago. Let's get more.
Marondera, who was sentenced this Wednesday, made headlines after his attempt to escape from the Harare Magistrates Court on 21 March. His accomplice, Luke Zinyengere, is still standing trial for masterminding a movie-style but short-lived escape while also armed on the same day. The two have several pending armed robbery cases. In passing sentence, the court considered that the offense was premeditated and that the prison officers were traumatized when they were threatened with a firearm. The state proved that early last month, the two devised a plan to escape from prison and they engaged a prison warden, Donald Mazinga, and shared their plan with him. This resultantly led Zinyengere's young brother Tinotenda to allegedly bring the revolver concealed in a bowl of rice, which the accused accessed and kept in their cell. The court found that Marondera took the revolver, hid it in his pants, and went to Harare Magistrates Court, where he appeared in Court 12 together with Zinyengere. When the pair was being escorted back into the prison truck in order to be taken back to Harare Remand Prison, they sprang up where they scaled over the court's palisade fencing. Shots were fired from both sides, and during the chase, Marondera was stripped down by a prison officer, and that is how he got arrested. The court heard that Zinyengere managed to escape and robbed Tinashe Chiamuro of his vehicle and phones, and he went away. Zinyengere was later arrested a few days after his escape in Rua following a tip-off. Meanwhile, former Citizens Coalition for Change CCC lawmakers Amos Chibaya and Costa Machingauta, who were convicted for participating in an unlawful gathering in 2023, have been fined $500 United States each by a Harare court. They were ordered to pay the fine forthwith, and failure to pay the fine will see the two, together with Monica Mukwada, Aleta Virimai, and Lancelot Tungwarara, serving a 6-month custodial sentence. They were also given a 12-month wholly suspended sentence on condition that they do not commit a similar offense in 5 years. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
And with that, we take a break. But when we come back, we'll be updating you in the world of business. Stay tuned.
Speed. Oh, yeah! It thrills. But it kills. Obey traffic laws and drive within set limits. This message is brought to you by the Traffic Safety Council Zimbabwe. Safety first. There is no second chance.
I love my boys. In the holidays, they sometimes spend their whole day playing soccer. They are my angels. I don't know why people in this area are always telling lies about them. But no matter what happens, I will always be there for them. That's what mums are for. New Aura Beauty Soap. For skin that glows. From the House of Zimgold.
These holidays, you don't need to go far to find the best entertainment.
Exactly.
All you need to do is stay connected to DSTV.
Yes, please.
Whether you're at home or on the move, make it a holiday to remember.
Lewis Hamilton leads on Ferrari debut.
Because these holidays, it's your moment to enjoy the best entertainment.
Great.
Thank you guys for joining us. So get and stay connected to DSTV to enjoy every moment.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now give you business news. Now, Zimbabwe's gold mining sector recorded a 40% growth in deliveries to Fidelity Gold Refinery during the first 3 months of this year, and we get the details in the next report.
A review of the first quarter indicates a resilient gold mining industry driven by deliveries at over 8 tons from about 7 tons at the same duration last year. Small-scale miners continue to lead in terms of overall production for a sector that dominates Zimbabwe's yearly foreign currency receipts, with government expecting 40 tons of the precious metal this year. Production trends for the first quarter have set the tone for growth. Commenting on the first quarter gold delivery trends, the Deputy Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Honorable Polite Kambamura, says that the government is confident of a further rise in the output for the precious metal.
In the first quarter, we have surpassed production that was produced the previous year by 40%. Government initiatives into the sector have seen this becoming a reality. Government put up a lot of incentives to the gold sector. Government is continuing the formalization strategy in the small-scale sector, and this is beginning to bring results. Also, the firming up of gold prices internationally or on the international market has seen large-scale producers expanding their production, aided by the conducive environment in the country.
Government interventions and supportive policies have seen Zimbabwe's gold mining sector experiencing growth. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, that report concluding our look at business news this evening, and we take a break. When we return, we join Anna Shemrombezi, and she tells me it's a mixed bag in the sports corner this evening. So stay with us.
In the first of its kind, the Girl Child will set the independence celebrations alive as Zerento's Queens clash with Army Side, Black Rhino's Queens on the 17th of April. And on the 18th of April, to cap the celebrations with a mouth-watering clash between FC Platinum and Simba Bora from the Nembudzia Open Grounds, live at 1500 hours on ZBC TV. Zim at 45. Devolve and develop together towards Vision 2030.
It's time to celebrate our nation's freedom. Join us at Nyamuroro High School in Gokwe Nembudzia for the Children's Independence Party. A special treat for the children, courtesy of His Excellency President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Enjoy an afternoon of fun, games and entertainment. Get ready to groove and be inspired by a variety of performances. And if you can't join us in person, don't worry, we've got you covered. The event will be broadcast live on ZBC TV. Don't miss out on the excitement. Join us on the 17th of April 2025 at Nyamuroro High School. Gates open at 8 a.m. Admission is free. Devolve and develop together towards Vision 2030.
It's time for sport, and welcome to the Sports Corner. Anna Shemrombezi here with the latest in the world of sport. Now, International Cricket Council Chairperson Jay Shah has arrived in the country for a series of meetings in Harare and Victoria Falls.
Zimbabwe is set to host a series of International Cricket Council meetings in Harare and Victoria Falls beginning this Thursday. Ajay Shah, the chairperson of the ICC, arrived this Wednesday evening to a rousing Zimbabwean welcome. Apart from the ICC chairperson, all the leaders of all cricket-playing nations are in Zimbabwe.
So we are very excited to be in Zimbabwe, and I would like to thank Mr. Muklani for hosting us. And I'm pretty sure that after having this meeting, that Zimbabwe cricket will go on the top, like they were in the early 90s, like Ido Brandes, Flower Brothers, and all the players were working hard. I hope after having this meeting here, I think Zimbabwe cricket will be on top in future.
Zimbabwe has hosted international events like the World Cup qualifiers, co-hosted the 2003 World Cup. However, this is the first time that the country is hosting the full ICC board meeting since attaining test status in 1992. And Zimbabwe cricket views this as an endorsement of the country as a safe sporting destination.
It then allows us to put the narrative that we have always given to the world into perspective. People are able to see for themselves what is happening in Zimbabwe.
The full board meeting will be held in Victoria Falls, after which the ICC chairperson is expected to visit the Mosoya Junior Stadium, which is being constructed in the resort city and earmarked to host World Cup matches in 2027 when Zimbabwe co-hosts with South Africa and Namibia. Zimbabwe has been extensively pursuing sports diplomacy as a tool for re-engagement, and next month the senior national cricket team, the Chevrons, will travel to England for a test match for the first time in 2 decades. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Caps United president Farai Jere believes his team will rise to the occasion when they face the Highlanders in the first edition of the Battle of the Cities, slated for Barberfield Stadium on Sunday.
The Battle of the Cities looms with the two main actors, Highlanders and Caps United, not at the Emperor's best. Makepekepe are in the bottom 3 with a mere 4 points from 5 matches. Both are not much better either, as they have 6 points ahead of the eagerly anticipated match. Caps United are going to the match with their back against the wall after a mini protest by their fans following the defeat to Ngezi Platinum Stars last Sunday. But club president Farai Jere believes that their time is now.
I would like to assure them that things are going to turn around. At Barberfield, of all the places, at Barberfield, things are going to turn around because this happened at the right time and early in the season. And what I want to promise them is great things are coming this season. Every time we've had a situation like this, look at 2003 during the Charles Mhlauri era, 2004 and 2005 we won the league. This is our year. This behavior, it's a clear indication that this season hasn't gone anywhere. 2025 is our year.
Makepekepe's faithful voiced their concerns on Sunday after the team fell to a third defeat in 5 matches, and the club president commended them for their conduct.
They have spoken. We respect that. That was very good. That was very good, the way they did their things. That was very good. There was no violence at all. It was a demonstration. So this is the time we need to be united as a family.
The two teams won a match each last season, with Boso winning the first leg 2-0 at home, while the Green Machine came from behind to edge Highlanders 3-2 in a reverse encounter played at Rufaro Stadium. Lawrence Truseda, ZBC News, Harare.
The Zimbabwe women's rugby team, the Lady Sables, are in Cote d'Ivoire for the Rugby Africa Division 1 Women's Cup, which kicked off this Wednesday.
The tournament, which will run from this Wednesday until the 20th of this month, will pit Zimbabwe against the hosts Cote d'Ivoire, Tunisia and Uganda in a battle for continental supremacy. With a potent squad boasting seasoned stars like Mabel Murungweni, Mercy Runesu, Rutendo Morosi and Cleopatra Kadimu, young prospects like Gabriela Chawatama, Fadzai Manidza and rising star Ruvimbo Mjiganadzo, the Lady Sables are primed to make a lasting impact. Led by Skumbuzo Sku Muchenje, a seasoned tight-head pro, the team is determined to claim the top spot and secure a coveted place in the Rugby Africa Cup, where they will rub shoulders with the continent's elite teams, including South Africa, Madagascar and Kenya. The Lady Sables kick off their campaign this Friday against the hosts Cote d'Ivoire, followed by crucial matches against Tunisia on the 15th and Uganda on the 19th.
That's it from the Sports Corner, where the report in focus is up next.
that's our look at the weather report and forecast courtesy of the Met Services Department. And that brings us to the end of this news bulletin. But before we go, let's take a quick look at stories that made the headlines.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa back home after attending the Africa Regional Forum on Sustainable Development in Uganda.
The Independence Torch has left Harare for Gweru, where it will be officially lit this Thursday.
In business, promising outlook for gold sector as deliveries surge in the first quarter.
And in sport, International Cricket Council Chairperson Jay Shah has arrived in Zimbabwe.
Now, those were our leading stories tonight. Remember to visit our website. That's www.zbc.co.zw, or you can also visit us on our social media pages, Joyce.
Yes, indeed. We are ZBC News Online. Remember, we are on YouTube and Facebook, and we always stream our bulletins live. So make sure you go and follow us. You like our pages. We're also on X. Go there and, like our X. We are off.
Yeah, we are. And that's it from all of us here at our Pocket Hill Studios. Have a good night.
Good night.